Hey guys, this is Comic Ken, and today I was thinking about how you gotta focus, as a storyteller, you gotta focus on what people actually respond to. That's the main concern for a storyteller, especially if you're gonna make manga or comics. Your number one concern as a storyteller has to be what people are actually laughing at, what people are actually crying at, what actually moves people's hearts, what actually moves their insides. Like, what do they really respond to? Because when you're not concerned with that, you're going to be making works or pieces of art that don't move anybody. When people open your book and they see the art and they see the story that you're trying to tell or communicate, it's going to fall flat if you're not concerned with what actually people respond to, because we're trying to create something from nothing. We're trying to create an experience for somebody that they didn't have before. When you're creating a new piece of fiction, a new piece of art, you're creating the primary product. You're creating the first contact that people are going to have with that story, with that world, with that setting. And you have to create it with the urgency that inspires the imagination in people. Like, you can't just relax or rest on your laurels and kind of half-assedly tell some type of story. Like, you don't have an established canon to back your ideas up. You don't have all of the Batman stories to go off of. You don't have all of the Spider-Man stories to go off of. You're creating something completely new, so it has to have that urgency of being this entirely new thing, and you got to make somebody invest in that thing without the backing of previous canon. You're the one creating this new canon. You're the one creating this new idea. So it has to reach somebody beyond just surface level traits. And a lot of what I see in the industry, the comic industry these days, is people are just looking for likes and validation. They're not really aspiring after the craft. They're not really trying to move people that deeply. I mean, they might be thinking about it, but if somebody gives them a compliment, they take that compliment and they're just like, all right. I was trying to dust my hands off. They just say, all right, well, my job's done. I got a compliment, so I'm good. But even if I get compliments on my work, I'm just like, okay. And I don't really take them too seriously. Like, what I take seriously is the criticisms. Like, I prefer the criticisms, because when I was looking for help to help edit my stories and try to make them better, I could never find somebody who would just be honest with me about how bad or good my stories were. So I could never really tell if I could make somebody feel something with my work. That was the hardest thing to find, but now I actually do have people in my life that can tell me, like, okay, this didn't work, this does work, you should change this and move this around. And I'm like, okay, now my work can improve because I have these people in my life that can tell me what does and does not work for the story. They're not my friend trying to tell me what they like. They're somebody that I can work with, like an editor. And there's a huge difference in the emotions between somebody looking at your work and going, like, if you're, let's say you're doing a comedy or a funny scene, and somebody looking at your work and being like, huh, oh, that's funny. Or they read your work and then they die laughing, like they throw their head back, they're like, you know, they're really laughing, and they can't even bring out the words. Or like when they're reading your comic and then something like crazy happens in the comic, it's supposed to leave them actually speechless, rather than saying like, oh, that's cool, like, oh, wow. You know, like, it's supposed to be a visceral feeling inside their body, rather than something that they can verbalize immediately. That's how you know you're on the right track to doing something that actually works, that actually has an effect, rather than a reaction that just kind of is like whatever, like that they're trying to give you because they're your friend or because they support you or whatever. Like, the best way that I've learned in the past to find these reactions, to see what people actually respond to in stories, is by reaction channels. I used to deeply watch like reaction channels for shows that I've seen in the past, that I just wanted to see how somebody else would react to the things that I was reacting to. And those were so informative to how I viewed story, and how I developed my understanding for what people respond to in stories and pieces of art, where people who watched the reaction, they would scream or they would cry at certain moments, or they would let out their actual emotions. And there's a complete difference between their actual emotions being pulled out of them involuntarily versus a forced reaction where they're just laughing because they want to either please the crowd or whatever. There's a real difference between those two. Once you can discover, like, okay, what are people responding to in this piece of art? Like, what are they looking at in this work? You can start to create those things in your own stories. You can put those things in your own art. And not only reaction videos, but in the past, I've looked at a lot of critic videos, like critics talking about movies, or critics talking about anime and reviewing them. Reviewers like really helped me develop my own sense of taste, where I was like, oh, like, people don't just blindly like everything that comes out. When Bleach was coming out, I used to watch like anime reviewers, like there was like Phone 999 or Bankai or King of Lightning. I used to watch all those guys, where they would talk about the chapter as they came out every week. Rogers Base with One Piece, or like there was like Code Provider, or there was all these guys that I used to watch and enjoy their videos. Uber Hikari or Otaku Assemble. Like, I'd watch all these guys talk about the chapter that came out that week and discuss, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, this is like, it was helping me develop an understanding for story, and develop an ability to criticize my work or criticize the work of others, so that I had a more critical thinking mind, where I wasn't just eating it up because it was presented before me. I was actually questioning it and determining, like, do I personally like it? Do I think about it that way? And it took a while for me to actually develop my own sense of taste, because I would watch these videos and think, oh, okay, maybe I should hate the chapter because this guy hated the chapter. But eventually I did. I was able to find things that I liked, regardless of whether anyone else liked them, and figure out, like, okay, this is what I prefer to put in the stories that I make. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. I just wanted to put that out there for storytellers. Like, when you're writing, when you're creating, you want to focus first and foremost on what actually affects people's emotions, what is actually effective to move somebody's heart. Like, you don't have to have the most perfect story, you don't have to have the most perfect narrative. As long as your characters are strong and they have a compelling series of events that people can really, like, understand and get behind, then you have the makings of a really strong piece of art that doesn't need a pre-established canon to make people interested in. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I'm creating my own comic, my own first primary canon. It's called Saintly. It's a demon chase horror comedy about two girls who have to outrun the demon loan sharks that they borrowed from. So I'll make videos in the future talking about going into depth about the story and its world and what it's all about, so that people can get a better idea than just this little elevator pitch that I've been giving. I want to go a little bit more in depth so that people can like kind of get behind the story and see what it's really about, because it goes much deeper than what I've been telling you. So I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.